Good evening, friends. Today's date is 3 September 2021, and our today's video topic is exception, check exceptions and uncheck exception. Before we starting the check and uncheck exception, we have to know about the history of brief about exception handling. That's we have to discuss about exception handling. Exception handling is in Java is one of the powerful mechanism to handle the runtime errors so that the normal flow of the application can be maintained. Then in this topic we can see what is the exceptions. Means the exceptions can be is a runtime as a some disturb the our runtime programs, and it can give the errors, and that can be as a runtime exception also, and compile time exception also. Means that exception is an event that disturb the normal flow of the programs, and it is an object which is thrown at a runtime exception. These are the exception handling is also a mechanism to handle the runtime errors such as class not found exceptions, input output exceptions, SQL exceptions, etc. These are all is in the so known as exception handling types. Then the core advantage of this exception handling is to maintain the normal flow of the application. This is an exception normally disturb the normal flow of application. Then so for examples there are 10 to 20 lines of statements of the programs, and there are some logics, and there are some statements and some methods are also available. But there are some statements can give an errors, and after that statements will not be executed. Then we have to overcome this issue. Then we have to this exception handling is a features to the Java. This is main features to the developers, and it is most helpful to users. When we use this exception handling, then there are remaining statements, and the programs can be smoothly executed. Then for example we can take the example of there are 2-3 statements in the and there are lines of codes in the exception handling, and there are 4 to 5 are executed, and the 7 can be used and errors. For example, it can be available like as an arithmetic exception. Means this is also known as runtime exception, means uncheck exceptions. Uncheck exception. Then we have to overcome from this. Then we have to maintain this exception by using try and catch block. And which that any of these statements can be give an error. Then we can declare into the try block, and we have to show that exception by using catch block. Then we can declare in the catch block catch like arithmetic and arithmetic means called as an object, and we can give a statement into the catch block, and after this catch block we can use the another remaining codes. It will be smoothly executed. This is also known as example of arithmetic exception. Then we have to know about the which types of exceptions. There are throwable exceptions. Throwable class can be executed into 2 types: exceptions and error. Exceptions, and another one is error. Then exceptions can be available into the input output exception, SQL exceptions, class not found exception, runtime exception. Then runtime exceptions is also known as unchecked exception. Unchecked exception is also known as there are 4 types. For examples, arithmetic exception, null pointer exceptions, number format exception, and index out of bound exception. Then index out of bound exception have also the two types: array of index out of bound exception and string out of bound exception. This is also known as unchecked exceptions. Then another one is part of the is throwable class of error. Error is also part of the exception handling, but it cannot be handled by the properly handled by the exceptions. It is stack overflow error, virtual machine error, and out of memory error. Then you have to see the some most important keyword of the exception handling. Then which are they? We see there are mainly 6 keywords. 5 keywords are mostly important into the exception handling. One is try block, second one is catch, third one is finally, fourth one is throw, and fifth one is throws. Then the try block keyword is used to specify a block, means where we can place the exception codes. It means we cannot use the try alone block, means we cannot use single block as a try block, means we have to must using the try block or finally block, catch block or finally block. Without only single try blocks it will not be executed. But and another one is part is without try blocks the exception handlings cannot be executed. Mostly we have to execute the try block before we have to using catch and final block. Then what is the second one is catch block. We can see the catch block is used to handle the exception, and it must preceded by the try block, which means we cannot use the catch block alone singly. It can be followed by the finally block later before the final blocks. And the third one is finally block. The finally block is used to execute the necessary code of the program. It is executed through whether an exception is handled or not, means a catch block is executed or not, and another one is error is found or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It is disturbed to the final block. Final block will be executed. It is their exceptions and handle or not, but the final block definitely executed. Then we have to see the throw keyword. Throw keyword is used to throw an exceptions, and this keyword is used to used for to the throw an exception. The fifth one is throws. Throws keyword is used to declare the exception. It specifies that there may occur an exception in the methods. It does not throw an exception. It is always used to with the method signature. Then we have to see the what is check exception and uncheck exceptions. Then the check exceptions that are directly inherited the throwable class, means except the runtime exceptions and the errors are thrown known as check exception. The check exception as a runtime exceptions, and it can be check are into the compile time exceptions. For example, there are examples: input auto exceptions, SQL exception are also available. Then we have to see the uncheck exception. Uncheck exception that inherits to the runtime exception are also known as uncheck exception. We can see the example of arithmetic exception, also null pointer exception, array index out of bound exception, string index out of bound exception, like this. These are uncheck exceptions are not checked at the compile time, but they are checked at runtime. The third one is also part of the error. Error is also part of the means irrecoverable, means it cannot be countable into the exception, but it is a part of the error. Some examples are out of memory exceptions and the virtual memory machine errors and assertion errors, like this. Then we have to see the how to handle the exception handling. For example, you can using the try block and int data d is equal to 100 divided by 0. We can declare after this. We can declare the catch block arithmetic e, and the block is complete, and in curly braces we can use the C-sort observation, and we can print that E, means it will show the arithmetic exception. After this curly braces we can declare one statements, the another another code will be executed after this, means it will show the arithmetic exceptions, because 0 will not be divided, and by it will show y. Then after this catch block some statements will be executed. Then we have to see the arithmetic exceptions. Then what is the arithmetic? We can see the 0 is not divided by 0, means 0 is not divided by the integer value 15, 13, 14 like this, because it will show the arithmetic. This is also known as runtime exception. It is not a compile time exception. Then we have to see the null pointer exception. Null pointer exception means we can take the string s is equal to null, and we can print out the length of that string. Then it will show the null pointer exception, because there is not any string to be declared into that string. Then we have to see the array index out of bound exceptions. Then we can see integer a array, it is equal to new int array of 5, size of 5 array, and we can store the value. For example, a of 10 is equal to 50, means the size of the array is 5, and how should we store the value of index of 10 and to the value is 50? It will show the compile time exceptions. Our today's topic is complete. Thank you.